Hey, I'm Michael, and I'm building an app that helps photographers delete photos faster. It's called Jettison, and it hasn't launched yet. I'm making this video series here on YouTube to chronicle the app's design and development and the process of taking the app to market. In this devlog episode, I'd like to talk about the Mac version of Jettison. My focus has been on iPad, so the Mac app is not as far along. But now's a really good time to talk about the Mac. Apple just launched their first batch of Macs powered by their own processors, and I thought it would be fun to take a look at Jettison and in the process to compare this Mac. It's a 16-inch MacBook Pro with an Intel Core i9 processor, which occupies the highest end slot in Apple's laptop lineup. And this little guy. This is the new MacBook Air powered by Apple's M1 processor. Note that this is the base model MacBook Air, so it's the lowest end laptop in Apple's lineup. So we'll do a little bit of benchmarking, but before that, let's talk about Jettison on the Mac. Buckle up. This is Jettison Devlog number 3. I've hit some showstopper bugs with the Mac version, but I've been filing bug reports and Apple has been fixing them. There's 2 remaining bugs that are impacting Jettison on the Mac, but Apple did just let me know that they should be fixed in macOS version 11.0.1. I'm running that version of macOS, so let's test this out. Let's comment out some code and run the app. Awesome, both bugs are fixed. I can delete all of these hacky workarounds, which will help me sleep better at night. And let's let Apple know. While we're here, let's do a quick tour of Jettison on the Mac. Everything works just like I showed in the first video. I'll link it up here. You should definitely watch that if you haven't already. But for a quick refresher, what's happening here is that Jettison is using machine learning to understand what's inside of each photograph. And when it's done, it applies a clustering algorithm to group photos together based on how similar they are to each other, so that photos that are very similar get grouped into the same cluster. Each cluster is represented as a different section in the app's pruning UI, which itself is laser focused on pruning photographs as quickly and easily as possible. Jettison on the Mac works with both Image Capture Core and the Document Picker. For more on the differences between these input sources, check out Devlog number 2. So this is Jettison on the Mac. It needs some polish. For starters, it looks exactly the same as the iPad app. But both platforms have different conventions and expectations, and in practice that means that apps are going to want to look and feel and work differently in a variety of ways. My plan is still to ship Jettison first on iPad, but now that these underlying bugs have been fixed and the Mac version is functional and performant, I'm excited to dig in and make it better. Okay, so now let's do some benchmarking. I'm going to compile Jettison repeatedly to see how long it takes to build the app. This isn't that exciting to watch, so let's just jump to the results. This chart compares build times between the 2 laptops. Each item on the x-axis is a unique build, so this chart is showing results for a little over 60 distinct builds per laptop. The y-axis is the build time in seconds, and lower is better. The MacBook Air is roughly 65% faster than the MacBook Pro at building Jettison. The bottom of the line M1 powered MacBook Air is not quite twice as fast as the top of the line Intel Core i9 MacBook Pro, but wow. It's also worth noting that by the end of this testing, the MacBook Pro was hot. Not burning hot, but quite uncomfortable to touch. And of course, the fan was spinning audibly. The MacBook Air doesn't even have a fan, so it's completely silent. And it's cool to the touch. Oh, and the MacBook Air is a third the price of the MacBook Pro. So that's what it's like to compile the Jettison app from its source code. Now let's compare how the Jettison app itself performs in day-to-day operation. That's reading photos from an attached SD card, using machine learning to analyze the contents of the photos, and applying an algorithm to group the photos into clusters. The Intel-powered MacBook Pro and the Apple M1-powered MacBook Air. The MacBook Air is 66% faster at pulling photos from the SD card and caching compressed versions locally, and a whopping 400% faster at the machine learning analysis. So that's 5 times faster at machine learning. This is really amazing stuff. Just incredible.
This is mine.
That's it. Thanks for watching. It's an exciting time for the Mac. Let me know if you have any feedback on Jettison or these videos. Ciao.
Can I like straighten it a bit?
No, like that.
Maybe we should make it a bit funny. Like I open it and I'm like, oh, like it's so bright. Oh. Guy, I'm vacuum again down here. You have dust balls.
Okay, I don't even think it's recording audio.
No, you're being ridiculous. Like.